All right. Good morning, everybody. Good to see some of you guys here. And we had a great chat on, was it Wednesday, about collaborations. And I'm already seeing a lot of activity within Sync Academy of people posting some new opportunities and posting to each other's opportunities to collaborate. So it's great to see you guys mingling together and starting to make some new connections. And hopefully I get to hear some great new, awesome music next time we do one of those live Zoom calls. So kudos to all of you for taking that advice seriously and doing it. But today's very short stream, I'm not going to hang on here for much longer. But I do want to address, because I've been getting more and more questions lately, DMs, emails, all that kind of stuff. What's up with Sync Up? You haven't talked about it yet. Is there going to be a Sync Up event? When is it? Where are the tickets? Who's going to be speaking? So it's just, first of all, cool to hear some of you guys excited about Sync Up. This was just an event we made up out of nothing 2 years ago. And it kind of turned into basically the sort of zenith, the pinnacle of our community, just to be able to connect with you guys in an in-person environment, to make some real connections. And it also was just really cool, exciting, and invigorating for me to connect, visually, your face, those of you that were there in person, to your little avatar or email or your name just on our platforms that I've been kind of interacting with for many years. What's up, Carlos? Good to see you, man. Carlos, of course. It's great to see you, man. And so yeah, it's definitely a must-have for our community. Definitely for sync licensing. We're all too isolated anyways. So I am going to announce today that Sync Up is not going to be happening in the way that it had happened in the last 2 years. So I know it's going to be disappointing for some of you guys to hear that. I'm also disappointed. I wish that we could do it the same way, but we this year just can't, and I'm not going to do it this year the same way. And I'll explain why. I have many reasons. If you guys are interested, we still will have some form of an in-person meet and greet and hangout, but it'll be scaled down, much more scaled down. So no tickets. Nobody has to buy a ticket to show up to it. I'm not going to go pay for a venue to rent it out. We're not going to be doing like a big, fancy, expensive dinner like we did last time. And I might try to wrangle a library CEO or two, but I'm not paying anybody to be a part of it. So it's literally going to be a zero money transacted kind of an event, just more of a hangout. If you happen to be maybe in the area where we're going to be doing the meet and greet and you want to maybe travel to it and meet me and meet each other that are in the area, that would be kind of what this really more is for. But it's not an event to necessarily pitch to library CEOs or to network with them, but more just to hang, an informal hang, and just kind of a way to sort of build some more in-person relationships, because that's the crucial part of this that I don't want to lose. But all the other stuff, like developing an event, planning it, hosting it, contracting speakers, negotiating, getting everybody paid, selling the tickets, promoting the event, dealing with all the technical issues, setting up all the equipment, right? All that other stuff that kind of is the window dressing to an event that sometimes it's not really seen, but once you get involved, you realize, wow, there's a lot of work involved. That really, for me, last year started to burn me out. The first year, hey, what's up, Yella? First year, it was very, stressful for sure, but like just the buzz factor, the excitement factor, they're like, oh my gosh, it's just feeling like almost like a high school reunion. 11 out of 10, just so great, feeling so excited, so invigorated and so energized, tired, but definitely energized by the end of the event. And so I was like, this is awesome. We got to do it again the next year. So we did do it the next year. Last year, I think we had new technical issues. I remember the Wi-Fi was having issues, and that was certainly stressful for those of you that were watching virtually. We had also some new event or venue issues, some problems with the venue that we didn't have last year, some kind of, I think, some poor service issues. Started to be a little bit stressful for me, and a variety of other things, just always those little hiccups that kind of come up throughout an event. And so I remember, and also probably some poor planning. I think I overscheduled our presentations, especially on day 2. I remember that. But combining all of that together, I definitely felt, end of day 1, I remember feeling extremely just burned out. Like I remember going like, okay, we made it. We made it through the day. But I was so, I remember Carlos running into you, man. And you were like, all right, we'll see you guys next year, right? You're going to do Sync Up Part 3. And I was like, I don't know if you can remember my face at that point, Carlos, but I was just burned, man. I was so exhausted and strained. And I was like, why would I ever do this again? What am I doing to myself, right? But Sunday came around and still, not as stressful. I think we kind of moved through it, but also, I felt a lot of just, my heart feeling very, very, warmed by just a lot of the presentations and a lot of the conversations and connections we were having, and just going, yeah, this is really important. Like, don't forget how important this is. But at the same time, the other part of my brain going, this is so stressful. This is so much work. This is killing you. You got to pace yourself if you're going to do this every single year. And the way you're doing it right now does not work for you. You're just overwhelming yourself. So that was really kind of the lesson I learned. It's a valuable and important thing for us to do these in-person events, but the way that I had been doing it isn't sustainable. So wrapped up the event, kind of moved on, and then I was like, well, we're going to do it for the next year. And so I basically thought, I think some of the issues popping up were the venue. So I started calling some new venues and new areas, actually different parts, not just in the LAX area, but also the Burbank airport area, to think maybe we could host it up there. And so I'm calling to a couple of venues, and you might not believe it, but it's actually hard to get a hold of people at a venue to book their venue, to pay them money. Like, I'm saying, I have money. I want to pay you to host an event at your place for specific dates. I've already got the dates mapped out and everything. I know how many people are going to be there. I know what we need. I've got money. Let's go. I could not get a call back. It was like probably 5-7 different companies I was calling and could not get a call back from any venue. And then the next thought is, well, you know how much work this is going to be. And if step one, which is just getting a venue, is already very stressful, like you can't even get a hold of somebody, am I going to have to drive all the way over to Burbank to knock on the door of these people's offices to even get them to call me back? If just getting this thing off the ground for step one is already stressing you out, maybe this is a sign that this is just not going to be in the cards for you this year, right? So I didn't say no to it altogether at that point, but I did sort of just put it on the back burner. I thought that's just a big source of stress right now. Some of you guys have known, follow me more closely. I've got 2 kids. And so when my stress levels get up to a certain threshold and I've got kids pushing that stress level up to a certain threshold, it's game over for me. And I just have learned to self-regulate much more consciously in the last few years having kids. So I thought, forget it. It's not worth that stress. Put that in the back burner. And you're ahead of me, Yella. We're definitely going to be doing something very, very similar to what you just described. And so this year we got into Sync Focus. That was much more manageable. That was a project I could take on. That was something that was really exciting and something that I felt like could be really useful for all of you guys that really want to make Sync your focus for 2025. And so far, seems to be working out very well for those of you that are taking it seriously. So that's been great. And then sporadically, spontaneously, this app idea kind of popped up. Yella, I had a conversation with you about it. And it's funny, Yella, I haven't told you this, but I'll reveal this on this live stream. Yella was one of the first people I had called to kind of pitch this idea to. But Yella, if you remember that conversation, I said, I have this friend who's coming up with an app idea. Do you think this would work or not? And I lied to you, Yella. That wasn't actually a friend that was coming up with it. That was actually my idea. And the reason why I did that intentionally, and I've done that to a few people, is I wanted the honest truth from you. Because if I told you this is my idea, some people, I'm not saying you would have lied to me, Yella. I don't think you would have. But I don't want to make people feel like they're obligated to say something nice about my idea just because it's mine. I'd rather be impersonal to say, well, this isn't even my idea. This is some other guy's idea. Is this good or not? And Yella, you gave me some great advice and some insights and some suggestions. So anyway, sorry to lie to you on that, but I did that intentionally for my own benefit so that you give me the honest truth. Anyways, kind of a little trick for those of you that do want to get honest feedback from maybe family, from members and friends, and you're worried they're not going to. Just say it's not your idea. Just say it's somebody else's. Anyways, so this idea, this app, is just kind of bubbled up. And it has just taken over my entire life in a good way. I'm just extremely, extremely excited for what I am discovering with the features that I'm pulling out of it, with the data that your trust has been shattered. Sorry, Yella. I'll build that back up with you, man. Well, next time I gave up the ghost, right? So next time I tell you if it's somebody else's idea, you kind of already know. So I sort of did burn that bridge. I should have never said that. That was my mistake. But this app is just, I'm getting more and more excited the more that I even personally just use it and test it out and go like, wow, we now have a sort of like look through the curtain of what tracks are getting placed on TV recently, what libraries are supplying them, what are the common ingredients that are getting those tracks through the door in terms of their genres, instruments, moods, tempos, keys even. It's just amazing to see what this app potentially can do for us in terms of just opening up the curtain, opening up the veil, and letting us see directly into our own industry, which up until now, unless you turn on a TV show and a streaming service and watch it all yourself, good luck. Like, what got placed on ABC last month and what genres were the top place, what tempos were they, which libraries were supplying them, which specific TV shows were getting placements, and what are the top tracks per TV show or channel, right? These are the kinds of insights that I can now pull out of this app. And so, hey, Trevor's here. What's up, Trevor? Um, so this has just been the thing that has been motivating me, exciting me, getting me out of bed in the morning. Like, some days, guys, I'm waking up at like 2 or 3 a.m. to start working on it before the kids wake up at 6. And I love it. Like, yeah, I'm sleep deprived, but I'm loving it. So I know if my interest, my heart is into something, I need to just go double down all in on it. So that's basically what I'm going to do. Trevor, the app's going to expose that you've never actually gotten a placement before. No, I don't think it's going to do that. And it's also just recent data. So don't worry, we can't go back further than the last available month. So we can't go in the history. This is all about current up-to-date data, very recently what's happening. So that's just where my head's at right now. It's this app, it's building it, it's developing it, and obviously Sync Focus as well with all of our, mastermind groups and our presentations, and now we're working on collaborations and all that kind of stuff. And I'm also doing some collaborating myself with Yella. Yella and I will have some music to share here on the channel shortly. So that's just where I'm at right now. So I'm going to just go in that direction. I'm going to really double down on this app, really try to get it launched this month. This is really my goal, is I'd like to have it this month out. If not this month, like first week of May. It's got to come sooner than later. And I think we're just around the corner. We're like at the 95% mark here in terms of what I need to do to kind of put the polishing touches on it and get it out to you guys. So I'm super, super stoked on that and excited. So as Yella was suggesting, is what we're going to do is, rather than doing a big formal sync up event where we have the guest speakers and tickets and we have a venue and all that kind of stuff, we're going to scale it down to essentially a meet and greet. And Yella, that might be exactly what we do, where we basically tag it alongside of the PMC conference, the Production Music Conference. For those of you that are deciding to go, Yella, I don't know if you're actually going to be going. I think a lot of you guys tend to go to that conference. That might be just the one that makes the most sense, where we basically just schedule a coffee or a lunch, maybe a dinner. Maybe a dinner. Maybe a dinner would be more appropriate, where we have a little bit more time. We can maybe get like a private room to kind of get like a dinner, something like that. That'd be kind of a cool way to basically do it. Some way to basically just meet and greet, hang out with each other, create connections, talk, and also do it alongside of an event that already exists for us. Could be NAMM as well. I mean, maybe I'll take a poll to decide, how many of you are going to PMC versus NAMM or both, and maybe where all the numbers are is where we sort of do it. But that's what I see us doing this year, in terms of a sync up type event, like a Sync Academy or a sort of Sync My Music community event. That's kind of where we're going to go. And then, I'm opening the door to jumping back into a full event in 2026, because I just think this year, with the app and my stress levels and burnout levels, this just isn't the year for it, which I know can hurt an in-person event, because you got the momentum going, and if you break it a year, people forget about it. They make other plans. They're not interested anymore. I understand that's a risk I'm taking, but I got to do it. It's just kind of where I'm going to go. So I'm certainly open to launching things back up in 2026, depending on obviously all the other variables and how life is sort of treating me at that point. But this time for sure, what I would want to do is bring on somebody to kind of be the official, I don't know, I don't want to call him the assistant, but kind of like the event coordinator, right? Where I am offloading a lot of the stressful part of the planning and negotiating with the venues and all that kind of stuff. I'm really offloading that to somebody else, including when we get to the venue and we start hosting it, somebody else to handle the streaming and all the other, live interactive customer service stuff that needs to happen during the event. Because I realize, my dream scenario would be somebody else does all that work and I just show up and focus on my presentation and focus on hanging out with you guys and networking with you guys, because that's the part of it that I love the most. All the other stuff, it's important. We've got to do it right, but it's not the stuff that I love. So if I can find somebody, and if you're watching this at some point, you maybe want to become that person, reach out to me, Jesse at syncmymusic.com. Maybe you could become the event coordinator for 2026 and beyond. So that's what I plan to have happen. That's what I hope maybe we can do for 2026, but we'll kind of see. As I said, I can't really make any promises at this point. So Yella, you're not going to PMC. You're going to skip this year. Okay, cool. So we'll figure it out. I can't make an announcement now when the event's going to be where or what's going to be included with it. We don't have any of those details right now, but I just wanted to make at least one video to explain why you're not going to see the official Sync Up big thing, the big event that we usually do, but hopefully not to be too disappointed that we have a potential for it to come back. And we also do want to have events specifically in Southern California for now where we can meet and greet. But I'd like to at some point maybe even take this on the road and go to Nashville, go to the East Coast, maybe the New York area. I don't know. Maybe we can kind of take this in a variety of places throughout the U.S. and maybe even the world at some point. But right now, I got to accept and admit to all of you guys that I am human after all, and I can only do so much. So the in-person stuff, it's just a different beast. It's a different animal than all the online stuff. The online stuff is so much more versatile, easier to manage in many ways. The in-person stuff does add new elements of complexity. So anyways, go to Europe. Yeah. Well, Germany for sure is at the top of my list. I have German roots and German family, and Germany would be up there. So I know there's maybe a couple of you close enough to Germany to come out and meet up. Maybe we could do one of those. But again, that's not being announced today. That's not being promise. So Austin, Texas, yeah, Texas for sure. I think Trevor, it would be one of the short list as well for a U.S. City to go to. That would be great. I know a lot of our members are in the sort of Texas area that they could drive to, something like that. So yeah, maybe we could figure out one of those as well. So that's it, guys. Short video today. Sorry, probably disappointing, probably disheartening. But again, for those of you that did buy a ticket, did show up for our previous ones, in person or virtually, thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to, connect with you guys in person, to meet you, to shake your guys' hand. I think it was just, these are beautiful events. I want to bring them back. But, we got to bring it back in a way that's sustainable, that we can actually do it on a consistent basis. And, I fell short. This is just one year where I'm not going to be able to keep up with the pace that I had before for all the reasons I listed in this video. So hang in there, and we'll hopefully have some new events and some new announcements coming soon. And I'll probably put out a poll in Sync Academy here soon asking those of you that are going to potentially, come to some of these industry events, PMC, NAM, and the like, where you're going already, where you're planning to go, because I'd like to just kind of tag along, basically leech off of whatever's already happening out there for you guys that are already going to be there, so we can kind of meet up around those events. So